Welcome to the Lost Lowdown podcast 178 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We're back, continuing our season 5 commentary series with episode 509, Namaste. Namaste. Which is an episode I don't remember much of.
It's a thing that we say at the end of the podcast.
We do say that. We got it from this episode.
Thing. Yeah, that must be good.
I'm sure that doesn't work.
We're like retroactively referencing it in the future.
Yeah, well, because we're that good.
Yeah, I think I think maybe this is gonna be. I'm guessing this is an episode where like nothing in particular happens.
Well, along those lines, Blostpedia says that the centric of this episode is none. So
okay,
that's always a good sign.
Yeah, that's probably why it doesn't stand out in my mind as being about anything in particular. So I'm gonna guess, since I don't remember it either, I'm gonna guess that it cuts between the Dharma people and the Hydra people, and I guess both stories will not advance. Yeah, the people on the Hydra Islands.
Oh,
the
Jira
people.
The Jira, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, like Sun and Ben and Locke. You know, I feel like we'll see them do something or other. Oh, right. They had that set up with Frank. They were like the pilot and some woman went off and did something or other.
That's right. Like they ran off. We'll find out who that pilot is, and that's some woman.
Yeah, I know. It's like, who's the only female character it could possibly be that we know?
Yeah.
There's literally, I mean, it's not Alana. She's still around. So yeah, I feel like we'll see that, and I think that means, if that's true, if that's what we see, I think that means we'll see that famous barrack scene with Christian, and where he shows him the picture.
Yeah,
and I think this is the episode where he's in two places at once.
Is that the he shows him the picture like The Shining, and it's like, you've been here all along, Jack.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
You've never left.
You were always the caretaker here, Mr. Torrance.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's right. And then there's that whole thing where, he comes out of the jungle to talk to the group near the barracks or something.
Yeah. Exactly. Like,
maybe that's when
the long journey. I don't know why you turned British. You have a long journey ahead of you.
He should be British.
He should be. There's something British about him.
Yeah, Titus Welliver is the most British name you can
So British. Why isn't he British? What happened?
Yikes. Yeah, I remember that. I think there's some shenanigans in the 70s time period, right? With
it must be just shenanigans, like Jack mopping the floor or something.
Yeah, I think we get baby Ethan with Juliet.
Baby Ethan.
Yeah, we do.
You're right.
I think we meet Rosinsky.
You think we're gonna meet Rosinsky in this?
I think this is Rosinsky.
Okay.
This is that weird part, because it was like after LaFleur when it was like,
it's like set
what
up
an interesting
stuff.
Episode. And then, wow, look, Dharma in its prime. And then like they kept showing us more, and it was
slam on the brakes. Yeah. It's really like they're twiddling their thumbs until the incident thing.
Yep.
And even that is merely a contrivance to get them back to the present.
This whole season is a contrivance. I don't know what we get out of this season ever. Like, seriously, now that I'm rewatching it.
Ouch.
I don't know what the point was, but the time travel was cool for 2 episodes.
Yeah. No, the early stuff was fun, but it is pretty inconsequential. Like, it kind of was just a device to enable them to, like, have certain things happen, and like also the Russo flashback, like they were able to do that, but
this is why they screwed up on not making the incident be important not making it important that the losties
Yeah.
and these particular losties went back in time, prevented the incident from being something world ending. Even, even the whole idea of like you have to go back to the island because you left your friends in trouble, which by the time they go back, their friends aren't in trouble
They're
in the
not in
same way.
trouble, of
Like,
course.
it could have been an interesting thing to say the people in the future / the present are in trouble if we don't fix this incident thing in the 70s. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, maybe if we don't do this thing the right way, that future timeline we came from gets annihilated. Like anything of consequence would have been better than what they did.
Right. Yeah. Where it was like they just did the thing that happened anyway,
The thing that
and
had already happened that we didn't know had already happened because we hadn't seen them time travel yet. So it's
right.
almost like they didn't do anything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like somebody making a time machine to go back and kill Hitler, but because Hitler never died, then whatever they did didn't work. So
Failed. The
what's the
end.
point?
Good
Yeah.
story, bro.
Yeah, thanks for wasting our time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, because they tease the
Mm-hmm.
idea that they might change, and
Mm-hmm.
in fact, that whole idea is a setup for the big final LOL of the show, which is the Flash
Mm-hmm.
Sideways, the fooling us that the
Oh
Flash
man.
Sideways is some kind of alternate
Yeah.
timeline where
Islands at the bottom of the water.
was created by doing detonating, like,
Yep.
so I feel like that's why they do it, but they do it for a fake out, and I think that is like one of my pet peeves about
Yep.
like surprise reveals, when it's like you only did this thing so that you could fake us out about it, like,
Because it only works the first time.
yeah, exactly.
Then once
Doesn't work at all the second time.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems stupid. It just seems like a waste of time. And I agree. Yeah, the whole season. I mean, I would say like the only thing of consequence that happens in this season is uh, Locke having Ben kill Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that hasn't
Mm-hmm.
happened yet, but I think that's the only like really significant event that advances the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll buy
The
that.
rest of it is just like a bunch of nonsense. I mean, even the whole Dan thing, like, it
Yep.
doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's like Miss Hawking is like, yeah,
Wow. Yeah, there's a whole pattern here. I feel like it would, Widmore gets less interesting the more you watch the show.
so much less. Oh my
Now
god.
Miss Hawking is on the list of getting less
Yep.
interesting the more you watch the show. And of course, Desmond was one of the first characters that were like,
Oof.
oh, upon rewatching, he's awful.
He sucks. Like, actually sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, and we already knew that Locke was horrible, like
Yeah.
how he was portrayed. Some of it was his fault, and some of it was just how they wrote him and the ending he got. But yeah, I think we're seeing this thing of like, yeah, rewatching it and going, this isn't that great.
Yeah.
Like, they're sort of either wasting time or they're not focusing on interesting things or nothing really matters. Again, this incident thing, like, was such a, I mean, can you imagine if Jacob had said, like, this is later when like Jacob's dead and he's appearing, he's got like 5 minutes before he vanishes off the island or whatever that thing was about. And he appears to Jack and he's like, Jack, you're going to take this over. And Jack's like, what's it all about? And he was like, I brought you guys here to stop the world from ending. Preventing the incident. You were the only ones who could do it. Blah blah blah. Like, that would have mattered. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's in keeping with the theme to say that important things in terms of the character's perspective are happening, but in terms of a larger context, whatever happened. Like, things don't really matter. Things are just what they are. And I don't know if that's good for the theme or not. I feel like as a viewer, I'd rather see a story about characters whose journey mattered. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you think about it, and this might be the most like derisive thing I have ever said about this show, but now I'm thinking like, if you think about the beginning of the show, think about the pilot, like, you go from them crash landing on the beach and then you time jump to season 6. Like, what happened? What mattered? who changed, who's different. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people who are dead now, right? But besides that, like, what actually happened? What actually mattered? What actually changed? The Swan Station imploded. So what? Now you don't have a place to do your laundry. Okay. Kate can't take a shower. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't get
Yeah.
it. Like, it's weird. Like, I feel like I'm losing my grip on what this show's about right now. Because I remember season 5 being so great and being so interested in it, but now that I'm rewatching it and it's all like tricks and mirrors
Yeah.
and like just like popcorn and candy,
Yeah.
it's nothing nourishing here that's actually happening. And yeah, like when Jack sees Christian in the flat at the very end in the church, and Christian's explaining like all why this happened, I want Jack to be like, so what were the 6 seasons about again? Because like what actually needed to happen, like, for my character growth? I could think of 2 episodes maybe, like, that actually mattered. I'm a little confused, like, what this all about, Dad. And he's like, hey, I don't know. What you want me to do about it?
We think I know something?
How about we walk through this door and see what other bullshit is behind door number 5? Like,
I
I
just
don't know.
work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think well, okay. First of all, like, on a more positive note, I would say that for this season, I think the one thing that maybe did work a little better for me this time was Locke's death. I think it had more weight this time because I knew that this is
Mm-hmm.
actually Locke's death scene. This is
Mm-hmm.
actually the end of the character,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so I
I'll
think
buy
it,
that.
it it had more impact this time for me. Like the first time, there was all this like, and that's it's actually bad for the show as well. So this is also a criticism because I think like building up this, what was it? Canton Rainier, this reincarnation, like
Mm-hmm.
Locke's really dead, isn't he? He's a proxy for Christian. Locke's come back to life, like all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really did lessen the impact of his death. If you compare it to like Boone's death or something, the
Mm-hmm.
bigger deaths that even like Anna Lucia or
Yeah.
so
Well,
many
it's less
deaths.
tragic when the guy comes back and he seems like his most self actualized form.
Yeah,
Like it's the worst, and that's what makes it the worst. Is
yeah,
because it's exactly what the audience wants. It's exactly what the character needs, and guess
yeah.
what? It's not
And
real.
it's like, fuck you. It's so not that. It's the
It's the
opposite of
villain of
that.
all people. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's the kind of thing that'd probably be great in a book or something. But like,
Mm-hmm.
when you're watching and experiencing it, it's just no fun to know that this guy is sullying the character that needed the most um redemption, self redemption. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
By the because he was broken from the beginning.
yeah,
Because like Jack had some problems, but like he had a somewhat functioning life. You know what I mean? Like he
yeah,
just had like some daddy issues and stuff like that, but he wasn't like a fundamentally broken person. And even Kate, like a lot of those people had problems, right? Obviously, that's why quote unquote Jacob brought them to the island.
right, right.
But like Locke was real messed up, like from like the get go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like he needed the most,
It's
and
pretty
he
clear from the
got
way
the
he
least.
interacts with the island that
Mm-hmm.
he needed it the most. And
Yeah.
yeah, he totally got it the
Which is
least.
which from a writing standpoint is why Man in Black targets him, because he's
Yeah,
the most susceptible, because he's the most needy to
yeah,
plug into this idea that he's special, but the
right,
audience just gets sort of used as well, going along
yeah,
with that, which kind of sucks by the end.
right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so it doesn't, I don't know if it comes out as a net positive, but I think the scene is better than
Mm-hmm.
when it's this sort of like fake death scene,
Yeah.
you know? Um, because it really is like uh horrible, like the way he dies. Like it's so horrible that I don't know. Like I appreciate that on a level, like how you just I don't know, like a major character like that dying in this like shitty hotel room when he was gonna kill himself anyway. You know,
He doesn't get the dignity of his own
yeah,
termination.
that would be bad enough for
Hmm.
an ending for the character, and he's already tried to do it before, you know.
Well, it went from
Um,
sad, like him killing himself would have been sad. Somebody else killing
yeah,
him, somebody else, not, I mean, somebody else killing him before he kills himself would have been bad. But then someone talking him out of killing himself
talking him
just
out of
so
it.
they can kill him is
Yeah,
cruel.
really cruel, really cruel. And actually, as I think forward, it does bother me a little more, I guess, that what they decide to go for is a Ben redemption arc.
The one
Um,
person who doesn't need redeeming.
After having him do this, and of course, they center the redemption on the Alex moment, which
Hmm.
I feel that the Alex moment was not as bad.
Nope.
Because I think he was honestly trying to
Hmm.
save her. He did the thing that he thought would work and it
Yep.
failed.
Yep.
But that's very different from what he did with Locke,
Yeah. Yeah.
And just because, like,
And Kimi is the one who killed Alex. Ben is the one
exactly,
who killed Locke.
exactly. I know, like, literally with his own hands. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and like Widmore's responsible for Kimi being there. Like, it's not,
Imagine that though, dude. Imagine if Ben comes back to the island. He's like, I need, I got to be judged because of what they did to Alex. And then he goes and he meets the smoke monster, aka Man in Black. And then he says, "You're not here because what you did to Alex. You're here because what you did to
mhm,
Locke." Oh my god, that would have floored
yeah,
me.
yeah,
Like the idea that he's got this guilt about how horrible he was to him this entire time, how misguided he was about being jealous
yeah.
of Locke. And obviously that wouldn't have played well with what they're going. And because Ben later obviously kills
He's supposed to be
Jacob.
resentful of Locke. That's part of
Yeah,
the
so I mean, it doesn't really
story.
work long term, but like just in that moment, that would have been so interesting if he had actually cared about Locke and
Yeah.
what he did to Locke. And even in the Flash sideways, like they gave him a little bit of like, well, I'm not ready to move forward
Hmm.
yet, but it
He
wasn't
has
quite
that
like,
funeral speech. That's the closest we get. It was like 2 lines.
mm-hmm,
He
mm-hmm.
was like, he was a better man than me, and I'm sorry I murdered him.
Yeah, wasn't it like everyone else was like, wait, you did what? Like,
Yeah, yeah. They're
huh?
like, huh?
He's like, yeah, that's a long story. But yeah, but even that moment doesn't come off as it's not weighty enough, he
No,
could
they
have
didn't
said that
spend
about
enough time
anybody
on
at
it.
any
It was kind
time.
of
Like
rushed. Yeah,
it's just an easy thing for Ben to say, like even when he killed
yeah.
Locke and he's like, I'll miss you. And it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know if you're being sincere or not, or you just like wanna like stick it to him one last time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that's weird. It's like they build up Ben to be the super bad guy, and
Hmm.
then they turn around and give him and I guess like part of my annoyance with that is that they give him the redemption arc but not like Michael, for example.
Yep.
It's just like it feels like he doesn't deserve it,
Hmm.
like why
And even
just
Michael's
because Michael Iverson's
redemption,
good, like I don't understand like
yeah,
why.
even Michael's redemption, which kind of worked, nobody found out about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even when Locke goes to see Walt, he could,
Yeah.
he didn't want to tell him his dad was dead, but like, it would have been great if he was like, your dad saved people's lives.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
wish he had any
know,
idea. Like and
yeah,
it just felt so weak to be like what he. I guess in retrospect, let me think. No, no, no. He knew that boat blew up. He was just like concealing it. I guess
yeah.
he
He
couldn't
was
like
completely
bring him
concealing it.
because like that was the whole Kimi thing. You just
Yep,
killed all those people.
yep,
Like he knew.
yep.
So
And
yeah, I
Walt
feel
is
like
gonna
that's
think, yeah, Walt's gonna think his dad was the worst ever. Like after all the stuff
yeah,
he did, bringing him to the island and then leaving him.
yeah.
Like, he doesn't know his dad left to go do something positive and died trying to
Hmm.
do something positive,
Yeah.
and he just gets to think his dad was the worst.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And according to the new man in charge, he ends up in a mental institution. So
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
I mean, they do have that. Yeah, they do end it with "We're gonna go get your,"
Yeah,
but that's after years
it's
of
not
trauma.
enough. And it's
Yeah,
also like they didn't even put that in the show. It's this like
yeah, it
extra
barely
thing.
counts. Yeah.
It's like I appreciate it, but also like too little, too
Mm-hmm.
late. Like, come
Yeah, I agree
on.
with that. Yep. Too little, too late.
Like, we're the whispers, Hurley. Like,
Yeah, it's like shut up, then. Jeez.
so annoying. Yeah, yeah. I think well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see because it's got its own problems. I don't even know. I'm tempted to say that season 6 is better, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not even sure if that's true. But I do think like the last two seasons are definitely the worst, and
Yep.
I think season 4 showed signs of the problems to come. But I think it
Yep.
was the last season where you know things are working on a more basic level,
Mm-hmm.
that where it felt like kind of dramatically satisfying. I obviously the early days of the show were like when the best moments happened.
I mean, season 1 and 2 are the best, clearly.
Yeah,
Season 3 it starts to go downhill. Season 4 they
yeah,
try to recover. The flash forward stuff was
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. That
That
was a
really
great
helped
moment.
bring some life into it, and the shorter season helped make it punchy.
Yeah, yeah,
And then season 5 is all gimmicks, and then like season 6, I
yeah,
think you're right, like in a general sense that it feels like it might be better, but I what I'm suspecting is we're gonna be really done and tired of the Flash Sideways real quick
yeah. There's
because
a lot of
it's
Flash. The
just
Flash Highways is
it's
basically
not
the
real.
Dougie of
It's yeah,
Lost.
it's not only is it not real, but they don't even really get any character growth out of it. So even though Jack has a son in that, and that's supposed to be interesting to his character, he doesn't really get to grow from that by the time they get to the end. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? In any meaningful
he just
way.
abandons that kid and like never
Yeah.
mentions it again.
Like
It's
his
weird
dad
as fuck.
abandoned him. I don't
Well,
know. Yeah, it's let's just say for the best show ever, it's got its problems.
yeah, no, it's definitely true. Like I do think like in maybe it is one of those things where some of the commitments to subjectivity and ambiguity and stuff like it makes the show like interesting to talk about even the stuff that happens later,
Mm-hmm.
but I think on a just on a simple like
The drama
character
level.
arc
Yeah.
and yeah, like it's and just the plot function, like
Mm-hmm.
part of it is a side effect of how they write the show, but part of it is just like yeah, I mean it just fails,
Mm-hmm.
like it doesn't work because they were able to write in that way, like with that idea of um we are going to make it all about how characters interpret things,
Mm-hmm.
and we're never really going to know the truth because there will be no the truth.
Yeah.
I feel like they were able to still write that way in the early part of the show, and yet it was still like
Mm-hmm.
dramatically satisfying,
Mm-hmm.
and like exciting, and you got invested in the mysteries, and it felt like it was building up to a larger thing that mattered,
Yeah.
you know whatever happened later. So I think that's the thing they lost, and it kind of reminds me of Leftovers season 3, where it just
Hmm.
felt like they kind of went off the rails and like kind of
Yep.
lost the urgency and
A
and
flood's coming.
just kind of
No, it's
sputtered
not.
out. Oh god. Yeah, it's like the Arst plot again. Like it's like
It's totally the art
nobody
squad.
cares. Like cuz a chicken told me like yeah, okay. Great.
Ah, who's that chicken? Chicken boo. Oh man, that's a chicken in a hat, man. That's a chicken in a hat. All right. You
On
don't know
that
he's a
note,
chicken until he takes the hat off. Great. All right, let's get into some namaste. Maybe we're all wrong and loss is the best thing ever and there's no flaws. And this episode will prove it, I bet.
sounds good.
All right, everybody, get your players ready if you're going to sync up with us for some namaste.
All
All right, you
right.
ready?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No previously on, just a plane in the sky.
Why would we need previously on?
Oh, Jira, I hope you don't crash. Okay, so we just jumped back like 3 episodes or something.
Yeah, it feels that way. I think this already happened, but
Yeah,
maybe it didn't.
I guess
Because
we
they're
didn't see
showing
it from this
again.
perspective. Oh, that's right. So the end of last episode, Kate, Jack, and Hurley showed up on the island.
Oh,
From the previous episode, 2 previous episodes when they actually
yeah,
got to the island, but they
right.
showed up in front of Hurley. I
They are
mean,
drawing that shit out.
dude, so out.
You're right. This is going to be the other perspective.
Yeah.
I should have known because they haven't shown that yet.
This was weird because I thought, I thought Jack asked to see the captain.
He did.
Okay. So Frank's not about to put 2 and 2 together already and go, this plane is Losty plane. That's my fine face. Like, did this happen last time? I thought
we
Jack
didn't see
talked to
this
Frank
part.
before this.
He did. He did.
All right.
I guess they've already talked.
Oh, they've
And
already talked.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
the crash is about to happen. So
Oh, you're right. Good call, man.
they
I was
must
a
have
little
already
confused.
talked. So I guess he already like suspected, but he was
There we
hiding
go.
it.
He didn't want to tell him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Cindy part 2.
Flopping around.
Yeah. That seemed like a pretty horribly shot sequence.
It seemed like they didn't really have the budget to make it too crazy.
So what are we supposed to imagine? They just flew through the barrier? And they
Yeah.
were they gonna always fly through the barrier? Were there
Yeah,
not the Lassies were on this plane, right?
Because the lamppost,
Because the lamppost.
right?
What?
And the shoes.
So would this have happened if the Lossies weren't on the plane?
Of course, maybe. I have no idea.
That's the
Yeah.
answer.
It's yeah. They're not gonna tell us. I think we're supposed to believe no, but I don't really see why.
Yeah, there you go. Good thing there's a
There's the
runway
numbers.
that fucking others built.
I know. Yeah, that's why they built it.
But why again? Oh,
Because they knew.
because they knew.
Jacob or something?
That's literally the Bible of the others. You open the page and it just says Jacob or something. And they all say amen. Like that's
So
their
true.
whole entire theology. Jacob or something.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not
Okay.
it's not a complex religion.
No.
And of course that guy's dead because
Yeah, he has
nobody
to
cares
be.
about him.
Yeah. Good thing Frank wasn't sitting there. I guess we're
He
supposed
got
to think.
treed. Makes me want to believe like the smoke monster did that.
I've heard of a branching narrative, but this is ridiculous.
Oh, brooch. Hey, lady.
I'm Jacob's daughter. Of course I'm okay. But we're okay now? You're so wrong.
Really wrong.
You were way more okay before.
Yeah, this is weird. It's really weird to start here.
It's super weird.
It's like we've already seen these people. Like
I almost
don't
wonder
know.
if this could have been the opening of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then we finally get back to this place.
It's strange to do Jeremy Bentham and then this.
Yeah.
Like it would have made more sense to do this and then they discover Jeremy Bentham, which is Locke, which is the Man in Black.
I forgot Ben was even on this show.
See, okay, I see what they did here. Basically, like they introduced fake mysteries.
Uh-huh.
Like, why is Ben knocked out? where did Son and Frank go? Like
yeah.
by
They give us a
cutting,
future point, and now we get to
yeah,
catch up, and that's supposed to keep us hooked.
that's supposed to keep us
God damn
hooked
it, it did.
instead of just letting the narrative run like
Yeah,
the natural way. Okay, and now yeah, so they're cutting back and forth. Sorry,
yeah,
I guess that's what it's gonna happen. They're cutting back to this. Oh wait, this is where it ended.
yeah, yeah,
So never mind. We haven't seen this before. I mean, we did, but
yeah. This is the
not the
next
next part. So I gotta take off my glasses now. You're blurry. This is how I remember you.
part. He couldn't remember her face because he wasn't wearing glasses that whole time. She was a blur. She was a freckled blur. This is so weird. Can we just say how weird this is that like he's been in the 70s for 3 years and now his friends show up out of nowhere
It's really weird.
from maybe the future? Like I don't even know what perspective is happening here.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they spent 3 years in Dharma is another thing that I feel like should have mattered more than it did.
Are they 3 years older than these guys? I don't know how
No,
time
they're all
works
because they had
anymore.
3 years off the island. So
Okay,
the
okay.
time passed the same. I mean, there
Yeah,
might be
it's
like a
weird.
few day
Yeah, it's weird living
discrepancy.
3 years in the past and somehow that doesn't make you older. I guess
Yeah.
that's uh-oh.
Well, if they had time traveled from an earlier date, then it could have mattered. But no, he isn't.
Hmm. He was also 3 years late bringing you guys back, so I mean, don't give him too much.
Jin's English is a little
Like, no
too
one's asking
good.
why he's wearing a Dharma uniform.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best
They
line.
don't know they're in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man, because that's unbelievable.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I was definitely
What?
thinking that.
Yeah.
Give Hurley the line the
Like,
audience is thinking.
God, it would ruin a lot of things, but if that was the opening of the season, that would have been pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to do that with the Faraday thing,
Yeah,
but
with the yeah,
introduce
that
this
was
extra
yeah.
element.
Mhm.
But this would have been more about the main characters. Yeah. He calls them the hostels now because he's been Dharma for 3 years.
Mhm. Ben. Oh.
Yeah.
Don't mention him.
Oh yeah, son. Yeah,
Oh,
you were right.
jeez.
Radzinski. Yeah, he's gonna help.
This is the problem with this show. Too many people just jumping off to adventure at every
Hmm.
turn.
All right, you all are just gonna walk.
Use your old trick, a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-oh. My new wife.
Oh, well.
This person. Boss was always great about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot Miles was on the show.
Mm-hmm. Most did.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. I hope I don't get jealous over this and throw a nuclear bomb into blowing up. Hope a character arc isn't starting for me.
Yeah, no. Not her again. God damn it.
Oh man.
That hair.
Mm-hmm. The royal they. They're back before they even left. Hashtag time travel.
And they need my sweatshirt.
The bulldog one. Yeah, it's super weird that, I mean, I guess the best you could say is that Jacob flashed Jack, Hurley, and Kate off the plane so they wouldn't be near their dear people because they're candidates?
Maybe. I mean, Sun was a candidate.
No, but was she really in the running? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, no, but most of them weren't really. Like, very few were remotely interested.
Yeah, and I guess Saeed, like, yeah. So then my answer doesn't.
Well, Saeed's gonna be in the 70s.
He's gonna be in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
found him yet. Or what did you mean?
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
He was on the plane,
Okay.
but he didn't flash with.
Right. He didn't flash with the Ajir people.
With Jack and Kate and Hurley.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. That's what I'm saying.
But
They just
I mean,
haven't found him.
he didn't wake up in the same location.
That's true. That's true. But Hurley didn't wake up in the same location as Jack. So I think he
Oh,
was
that's
supposed to be
yeah,
like in a
that's right.
different place.
They did all kind of fall around. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we just saw Radzinski.
Yeah. By the way, this is the worst character ever.
It's like kind of Yawn City, but this was a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
It was actually really exciting.
It was huge. It was the human version of like hearing about a station before you see the station. So it was like hearing about a character and then seeing them was huge. And I think this is what ruins his character right here, because he comes off obstinate from the beginning, which could be okay, but now he's at odds with Jen. And so a character that we like, who's a main character, is now hating this guy.
Yeah.
For getting in his way. And I just think that's a bad intro.
Yeah, it is.
And you want the conflict, you want the heightened, but ugh.
Yeah. I think I would have.
It would have been better if he was just like, there's a plane that landed, and just like, what? Oh my god! Like that's just believe him, and have some heightened drama from how incredulous that could be. But I don't think you have to make him not believe him.
Radzinski is such a one-note character.
That's the
really
problem.
bad.
It's not deep. Yeah.
There's like nothing there.
And I know they say Radzinski killed himself, but you wouldn't blame Kelvin for killing this guy.
Fuck
if he
no!
lived in a bunker with him.
Oh my god, intolerable for years. Change your shirt, Frank.
Oh man.
These people are just all.
We all know we're not alone here. What's the line? And we all know it. He's the new lock. Oh, this guy, Graham. Wow.
Graham.
Bram. Oh, that's right. It said Graham. Bram. This is weird, man. Because, like, this is like season 1 for these Losties,
That's what we were saying at the time.
Yeah, and just you have these other people who have this in completely different backstory, and they already know all the mysteries about the island, and
yeah,
it's crazy.
It is. I feel like there was definitely potential here that they totally wasted.
Yep.
Because they just didn't give a fuck about any of these characters. They're just gonna die, and nobody's gonna care.
She's like, I'm following Ben, and he's like, I'm following her. All the people who know what's going on are leaving right now.
Yeah.
Like, you guys sit and pontificate about what to do.
Yeah,
We
have
actually have
fun.
a
Go
plot
ahead and
here.
discuss.
Yeah. Yeah, the blue tarps are over there in the corner. Good luck.
You're gonna need a lot of them.
Yeah. Hey, let me save you some time. Don't move to the caves. You're not gonna like the way the set looks. You're
Right.
just gonna move back. Looking for me, son?
Hello.
Remember
Yeah.
that. My mommy. Yeah, sometimes Michael Emerson plays Bidden too weird. He's like, I'm gonna eat you now. Like, he's just a little too creepy.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, is
Juliet,
this it?
don't,
Yeah.
Juliet, don't. I hate sleeping. Yeah, she's in a hammock. She's cool. Pierre Chang, Miles' dad. Okay.
Hi, Juliet.
I'm gonna torment you later.
Ew! Drop the baby.
I know, like you see her fighting the instinct to throw the baby.
Yeah.
Oh man. God, see, that'd be great though if she had said, "Why not Jonathan?" Like, it'd be
Mm-hmm.
cool to see her try to play with fucking
Yeah.
time, you know?
Yeah, I
Ethan,
agree.
he looks sort more like a Edgar, you know?
Of course she fucking didn't.
Yeah,
She
sometimes she
didn't
didn't know about
know.
that because she don't really know about much.
She doesn't know jack shit. Like all of us.
Back again.
Oh, this time he has a real van.
Ha!
Look like you were on a sub.
Mm-hmm. Like, why can't he just say they washed up on a boat like you guys said? You made it work.
Yeah.
I'm LaFleur now, aka the Jack of the last 3 years.
Yeah. That
Hurley's got
guitar
that guitar
case.
case.
That
Yep, I
fucking
saw
og.
it too.
Just gonna sit
Who
around.
knew? Who knew this entire time? Which station did he say? Huh?
Oh, is this gonna be Saeed?
Looking Glass. Yes.
Looking Glass Station? Oh, right, because that was yeah, that makes sense. Because they're all about that sub stuff.
Mm-hmm. That sub life.
Sub life. Sub life. I mean,
I
this
remember
movie's
this. He's just so Saeed. What are you doing? You were gonna sneak up on him. He saw you. That's right. This is the thing that happens where Saeed doesn't get to be a new recruit like the rest of
Yeah,
them, like
because he
the
gets
white
found like
people.
this.
I'm just gonna say it.
Oops.
I guess Hurley's not white, but still.
I guess not.
I don't know why the minority is the one getting a gun pointed at them, but we'll just let that go because it's the 70s.
Lock him up.
Oh, man.
Not for like 20 years. You're good. No, because it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Not exactly.
Not anymore. Oh, that's a great line. Huh?
Yeah.
Because we saw him there from the beginning of the show.
Yep. Yeah, I guess they're punting on Faraday.
Yeah. We still got to see him tell Charlotte that creepy thing.
Yep. It's gonna
I guess
happen.
that's part of why he leaves, right?
Yeah. Probably. I don't know. Maybe he'll explain it.
I remember that. That's a good thing to worry about.
Oh, he wasn't. I see.
Yeah, nobody told him anything because he's
Yeah.
Miles.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not even gonna be with us in the church, so just
Yeah.
back off.
This is part of the reason why, because we didn't bring you in on all the important adventures.
Yeah. Yeah. Insiders only. Well.
Saeed. He's a
Join
British
the
Muslim.
hostiles.
Hostile.
He's always complaining about the battery not working.
I remember that. Like, wait, was your arm even like what are we supposed to take from that?
Was he bullshitting?
The
Was that
whole
like a
time, or was it
Kaiser
just like, is it just
Soze?
okay now? Did the island just
Oh, the
heal?
island healed it? Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know what the
jeez.
fuck that was. That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
He like touched it once, like, oh, I guess it's fine.
He's like, oh, it's fine. Okay, go. For now. That's not what happened.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. He left
No,
first.
yeah. What about that face as untrustworthy? He's like, my work here's done.
Yes, you do, son. Well done.
Oh man, that. He even knew in the 70s there'd be outriggers here.
Of course he did. Yeah,
Of
no,
course
they're
he
not in the
did.
70s.
Oh, they're not in the 70s.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they're in the
Jesus,
present.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ouch. A
Ouch.
little snarky.
Yeah. He's like, that was a bin one freighter zero.
Yeah. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is great. She totally pulled a bin. She waited to hear what the plan, like when Ben kills Locke, like waiting
Yeah,
to hear what the plan is, and then
you're
like
right.
going, okay, I don't need you right now. I lied. But he's catching up.
Yep, yep. That could be like Sun's last great moment.
I was gonna say she has two great moments ever, and one is when she walks up to Widmore, is
The
like, "You
Widmore
better watch
one.
your step, Widmore,"
Yeah,
and then this one.
yeah. I remember being really surprised because they don't let her do stuff like that very
Yep.
often.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fuck you, Ben. We're
Yep.
going.
I know how to lie. I learned it from you, Ben. This is great. Of all the people who do the intake, it's
I
the top
know.
scientist on the island.
Yeah, it's weird. Blah, blah, blah.
No way he could have been a criminal in his past life.
Ah, that's the explanation.
Ugh, women are the worst, aren't
I
they?
know, right? We shouldn't let him work at all.
Why is he blaming her?
Here's to the 70s.
I see. That's why they're explaining why he's doing this, is because Amy was
Exactly.
supposed to do it. Okay, all right. Oh, your last name isn't Workman? It's not Roger Workman? Remember that?
I do. I
Oh, you're
do.
a
But that should be the first
Workman.
clue. He's going to be meeting Ben's dad at some point.
Yeah.
Kate?
Huh.
Huh.
Let me turn the page.
Hmm. Bombay.
Wait. Amy isn't working today,
Uh-oh.
Juliet, if that is your real
Uh-oh.
name.
Amy was on a hammock last I saw
She was hamying.
her. Amy.
Oh man. This is great. Like, Kate has no idea that Juliet does not want to see her right now.
That's true. She doesn't know
And Kate's
anything.
like, something weird's happening here, and I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And we don't even know why Kate's here. Like, obviously we know a little bit thing about
They haven't told us
Claire,
yet.
but yeah, they haven't made it
Yeah.
clear, so she's just kind of like hanging around.
There's going to be a couple episodes, I think, before we find out why she's here, which is weird.
Krasinski.
Fucking Rosinski.
He's like, let the flower handle it. What? He saw these sticks?
He's been inside the Swan.
He knows more about the Swan than you do. He saw your brain splattered on the seat. But also, that's all he saw was a model build with a couple
Yeah.
sticks. Like, what's he gonna do with that?
Yeah, Rosinski's like clearly like a ridiculous character. Like, let's kill him because he saw this like hunk of wood in a shape.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You
What is
saw
he
my
gonna do with that?
yeah, summer camp art project.
Take that to the others? Like, they have this
Yeah,
thing.
they know they built stations there. That's not
Yeah, it's
it'd be different if he said he saw the map where we're gonna build the station. Like,
yeah,
that's something you could remember and could be a problem.
yeah.
Brzezinski knew it.
It is a bit odd now that I think about it that they don't I don't think they have a name for themselves.
Why would they? Nobody thought that much about them in the entire history of the show.
It's like all the names for them are names other people gave them.
Yeah.
But you would
Well,
think they
listen,
would.
yeah, they should. But
Like
that's why they
being
suck because they don't have a real identity. Their identity is
yeah, it's
defined by what
true.
other people think of them. And maybe that's
Yeah.
thematic and important and deep. I don't know. I know it's not great TV.
Yeah. Is that flashlight really gonna do it? Okay.
Yeah, well, doing nothing, but
Like I guess with the studio lights, like it just doesn't seem like it's doing much, but
I think that's supposed to be like the full moon or something. All
oh,
that
okay.
lighting that's happening.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess they're not a studio, but like
Yeah,
clearly there's lighting
yeah.
because like without lighting, the trees don't look like that.
I mean, it sounds like Man in Black, but
Yeah, I think it is. I think this time it literally is.
okay. Oh, that's right. This is when we find out like the Paula Ferry and the barracks are real close to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. But I think they kind of established that before,
Did they?
maybe. Because I think they've gone there from the barracks before. Maybe I'm wrong.
This is like a great horror set.
I
Like
know, and
this
I
is
feel like
classic 70s horror.
it's really weird, like shit's like boarded up, and it's like, when did that happen exactly?
Mhm.
Like it feels like they got confused.
Yep.
Like they treat it like this is an old like abandoned Dharma
Like a
station.
yeah, some sort of
But
ghost
really,
town.
it was Kimi's team. Like that was the last thing we saw, and it should. This is definitely a horror scene, just for the record.
Yep.
And maybe that's part of the reason why they did it, just for atmosphere.
Mhm. Well, it's just like the cabin now. The cabin is the
Yeah,
entire area here
yeah. It's like he's
because he's like
inhabiting,
taking over. Yep.
but it just I just don't see why it's boarded up. Like it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't look like it was like attacked. It looks like it was abandoned.
It almost looks like this is post
The
the
purge.
purge.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
some of this should be, I guess. Like some of the rooms wouldn't have been touched after the purge. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, the idea that the others never saw this is a bit weird to me.
Yeah. But the other oh, that's right. The others were living there after the
Yeah, they were living there for like
oh,
a
that doesn't make
decade
any
at
sense.
least.
Oh man, yeah, this is totally The Shining.
Yeah, yeah. A what?
Yeah, there's no way you can really process that and make any sense of that.
I don't even know what the Man in Black's doing here, by the way. Like, what's the plan? Like, I'm gonna show him this,
I do like that
and
line. You got a bit of a journey ahead of you.
I like
Yeah,
it too. I wish it had come to more.
I guess let's find out. Like, he wants them to know what's happening, that their friends are in the 70s. But yeah, I don't remember why. Although we have a group of people we're at war with called the Yeah, that was almost the end of the episode.
Yeah. To me, like, this is just all kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they have to go through all this charade.
There's a weird thing too. I have this feeling that part of the reason Saeed is being considered a hostile is because he showed up in handcuffs. He seemed like he was already guilty of something. So
Mm-hmm.
now they just like transfer that guilt into him being guilty of being a hostile. I mean, I know there's the like
Right.
ruse that he's got to pretend for Sawyer and all that, but it's just weird.
Wait, what's their explanation for why he had handcuffs?
They didn't. They didn't mention it.
That's so weird. Like the others put him in handcuffs, and it's like, is that the idea? Like the
Wait,
others
he's
got
James
handcuffs?
LaFleur?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, Jim for short. Oh, I remember this. I
Mm-hmm.
think if this is the scene I remember. What?
Respect you. That's the best fake smile ever. Man, she's good at that. So this hug's gonna look conspicuous if anyone's watching us in the doorway.
Yeah, it's true. Phil could be like right over there. And he's like already shown to be suspicious.
Mm-hmm. He's reading a book.
Of course he is.
Sit down, Jack. There's something I want to tell you. Oh, she's gonna punt it to them.
Yep.
I'm alcoholic. I shouldn't drink. Do for me, mofo. Fill me in on 3 years.
Can I do for you?
Yes, I used to be the night in jail. And you're reading a book. Yeah, this is something I feel like gets lost because he just called Dharma and my people. And I
Yeah,
feel like his affinity for them gets lost once shit starts hitting the fan.
totally. Yeah. Yeah, they could have had some conflict about that. I mean, that's something that,
Oh, here we
you
go.
know, oh God, here we go. Sawyer's got a story.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the 3 years should have mattered more than they did.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Yeah, lay it all out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Us, a short us.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, well, we had to come back to save you.
What we did, yeah. I mean, and it was 3 years off the island. It's not like we came right back. I mean, it was.
I'm saving everybody's ass.
I'm ass saving the floor. That's what I do. You can go to sleep and rest your pretty head. Oh, this was great. I remember this weird ass shot.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Is
I
that
can't see
blurry
your
shape you,
face.
Kate?
Last I saw you, you jumped out of a helicopter, maybe to save me.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if he remembers what he told her about Cassidy.
Oh yeah, right.
Remember you have a daughter, buddy?
Oh
Oh God, no! I
no.
hate this already.
Oh no.
Oh, I forgot about all of this.
Yeah.
Damn, this was horrible.
Here it
Because the
comes.
only thing worse than one Ben Linus is two Ben Linus.
So true.
Why?
Because he's a hostile.
So when Floor told him Phil to get this man some food, he went and told a little kid to make it.
I
Or did
guess.
Saeed eat earlier already? I'm confused. Phil didn't bring anything. I don't know. Don't say it. No, Ben something else.
Ben.
No, don't you dare. Oh, I guess we don't even need the last name.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about a horror movie ending.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Man,
You
this episode
know,
was all over the place.
it really was. It really was. It was kind of, yeah, they've had a couple like that where
Yeah.
it's just like a bunch of cutting back and forth between various things, and none of the individual stories advances very much, but
Mm-hmm.
they kind of fill the time with cutting between things.
I think we've seen the last of Saeed being good at all.
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
over.
because I remember after this, he's trapped in this thing, and then they get out, and then
Yeah,
like he
he's
just
like he's shot for the last part of the season. He's just kind
yeah,
of lying around
yeah,
doing nothing.
yeah, which
And
is
then
which is the opposite of what list any great Saeed scenes, and it's him being active.
being unconscious and bleeding.
Yeah, that's what we loved about Saeed. That dude like killed people with his foot one
Yeah.
finale, and then he's like, yeah, bleeding out the rest of the
It's
show,
like
and
one too many action heroes. Like I don't know. Yeah, I could feel it already in season 4 when they had him
mm-hmm.
have that big Kimi fight, but then it was like it didn't matter,
Yep,
because like
yep,
Kimi just got up and continued from there. It was sort of like they had to contrive a way to give him something to do. And so it seems like in season 5 they were just like, fuck it, just knock his ass out for the rest of the season, so we
yeah,
don't have to come up with shit for him to do.
mm-hmm.
Which yeah, it's just disappointing. And then of course the claiming thing, and it's yeah, his character's over at this point.
It's done. He's done, and he only is gonna get worse. Once the claiming happens, he just gets worse.
So much worse.
And they
Yeah,
don't, and
zombie
they don't.
Saeed.
Yeah, like who wants that? Oh, it's so bad.
Oh,
It's
I
so
feel
bad.
nothing now. Great.
He's a little Transylvanian, but that's what happens when you get claimed. Yeah, it's really sad for one of the best characters to really go downhill so precipitously like that.
Yeah, they clearly just had no thing for him to do. Just it seems like, I mean, it's true of a lot of the characters. Really, it's just maybe a bit more pronounced with Saeed than some of the others.
Why
But
bring him back to the island at all?
yeah, I agree. I agree. It's like if you're, I felt that way about Desmond too. It's like if you're done with him, just let
Mm-hmm.
him be. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. It'll be better in the long run than bringing him back to do nothing. Like
Yeah.
it's just a waste of time. Did they just have a contract? Like I don't know, man. Just pay him and like
Just pay him.
like,
I mean, I'm sure he wanted to be on the show, but they gave him such little crap to do. And I guess that's the other big thing is other people
yeah,
have some sensible reason why they're coming back to the island, and he
he was
doesn't, right? He was
forced.
forced. There
Yeah,
wasn't even like,
a lot
oh,
of
Man in
kidnaps and
Black appeared to him as Nadia. and was like, Saeed, come
Mm-hmm.
save me on the island. And
Yeah.
like there wasn't even that kind of thing where he feels like there's something left for him to do. And I think that's the problem with his characters. He's got no arc left. There's nothing left
Yeah.
for him to discover or do or become because he doesn't actually want anything right now.
Right.
I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
he doesn't even want to like leave the island. You know what I mean? There's
He doesn't want
nothing
to do anything.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that's
He's
like, oh, I have to
aimless.
get back to this thing, or I had my perfect life, or I had moved on, or whatever. And yeah, so there's just like nothing for him to want. So that means that the conflict and obstacles are weak, because he's not really being challenged, and then he turns into something that the show denies even exists.
Right.
So yeah, it's real sad.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the Ben thing also had potential, but they clearly had no. I mean, I get it because, the show before this has already happened and
Hmm.
they can't retroactively write it where, I mean, I guess that's the classic retcon where like Ben knew all along that Saeed shot him when he was a kid.
Hmm.
They basically, I mean, it's kind of like what you were saying of like whatever happened happened, that like whatever happens just can't matter that much because we didn't know about it
Because
already.
it didn't affect it. Yeah, it would have been interesting for Saeed to manipulate Ben the way Ben manipulated him in the future, slash Saeed's
Yeah.
past. It would have been interesting to see him. And then you could have had this thing where, I learned manipulation from you, Ben, from you, Saeed, whatever,
Hmm.
like, you know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah,
That
that's
kind of
that's kind of
thing.
interesting. It kind of ties into the
It would have just, you gotta make it worth something. it's got,
yeah,
it's gotta be worth the time and effort for these characters to do all this stuff. And the plot isn't what's worth it. Well, it can be, but I mean, like, it's
in this
about,
case no.
no, in this case, no. But it's about how the characters are responding. What are they learning? What are they doing later because of what they learned? So if you have a whole
Yeah.
season where Saeed was manipulated, I mean, for obviously Ben and Saeed go back to season 2 with Henry
Yeah.
Gale, and I'm gonna get the truth out of you. I was a
Yeah, yeah.
torturer. I'm gonna get so it goes
Great
all the way back.
moments.
Yeah, and this is the flip flop. Saeed's in jail here.
Yep, yep.
Ben is
They're
outside the
calling back.
jail. So they're
Yeah.
calling back to
Yep.
that, and that's all well and good. But like in terms of like whatever relationship they're gonna have in their interaction in this rest of this season, I feel like that's what doesn't come to actually anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why it's disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's this. Well, okay, that's too much of a spoiler. Let's just say, um, I feel like it could have been. I wish they had taken more risks. I guess with the time travel, like,
Mm-hmm.
what if he shoots Ben and Ben's dead? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and
Yeah.
like they have to deal with that. Like, oh my god, what does that mean? And if we see Ben in the present, like, what does that mean? Like, I wish they had. I wish they had let themselves, and of course, like part of it is where they're going at the end, like why they didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
do that. But but I really do think that if you're gonna do a time travel plot and a kind of interacting with the past plot, like from the future, I feel like to really not have any of it matter is pretty, I don't know,
That's the problem
ridiculous.
with this type of time travel, where you can't really
Yeah.
change anything, which means great, then nothing new will happen.
Right. And I remember at the time, like, I liked it because I didn't want them to be able to rewrite the show, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And actually that was my fear about the Flash Sideways. If they rewrite the past, like that kind of makes it not matter. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess the flip side of that is if they can't do anything that changes anything, then that's also like not good.
Yeah.
And
Because the problem is the first scenario, we see the original stuff, then they time travel, and then if they do change the past and negate the original stuff, at least as the audience member, you get both things. You get the old original stuff and you get the new thing that they do. But this way, when nothing in the past can be changed, then all you get is the original stuff and then nothing new.
Right. Right.
And you're just kind of stuck with like, they did kind of do that thing. Oh, Ben gets shot, and what does that mean? But it's like,
Hmm.
oh, but we're going to be able to heal him, and we know that that's going to work because he's
And
alive
he
in the
won't
future.
remember,
And then they do
and
the he won't remember thing, and
yeah,
I think they could have played around with memories, like not really existing or something, to where, maybe it's not until Ben goes to the 70s that he remembers
kind
seeing
of like the
Saeed as a
Desmond thing.
yeah, like that could have been interesting to play with, and we probably would have like groaned about that too. But
Hmm.
that might have been interesting if he, instead of having the sort of catch all like, well, this is gonna corrupt him and maybe make him bad, and then also he won't remember any of you guys, so don't worry about it affecting the previous episode, the
Right.
previous seasons, you know
Right.
versus the idea that maybe Ben did all this stuff because he had that experience and because he knew people from the future were coming, or those
Right.
people who came from the future and when he was a kid will come to the island when he's an adult. And maybe this is all his plan to be ready for that. And that's why he usurped Widmore. That's why he wanted to be the leader of you know what I mean? Like, they could have kind of made that work in a way to say that Ben had that foresight,
Yeah.
and it contributed some way that we didn't see the whole time. That's why he was so unflinchingly ruthless in his determination, because he had this crazy
Right.
adventure when he was a kid,
Right.
or whatever else they did.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
weird to
agree.
see Jack not in control. It's weird to see Jack not care about not being in control. But I did like that little scene of them butting heads. I think he played a lot better the first time when it felt like it was a long time coming.
Yeah.
Now it just feels a little petty on Sawyer's part in a way, because like Jack is like in a completely crazy situation. He was not expecting to time travel. I mean,
Yeah.
he barely understood and was on board for this whole coming back to the island anyway. And on top of that, he's in the past and maybe he's stuck there forever. And like the people that he came to save, most of them aren't even there. And the people who are there have been there for 3 years. Like, I feel like, and I didn't really catch this the first time. I feel like now I'm way more concerned on how much there is to process for these people, that then they're not really given the time to really I mean, you saw the shot of Kate at the end on their porch pacing, so she's thinking about all this stuff. But
Yeah.
like it is really, really, really insane the situation they find themselves in
Yeah.
after all of that stuff with Miss Hockey and coming back, and you got to save people and locked dead, and then you go on the Ajira plane and you flash off the plane for no apparent reason, and now you're here, and then they've been here for 3 years. They don't even need saving. We need saving now.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
coming to save us? And this was not the plan. This is not what Miss Hawkins like. All of that's like really, really insane.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. It's like the plot as it is seems really um I don't know, like kind of inconsequential and boring, but if you think about it, it shouldn't
Hmm.
have been.
Yeah,
And yeah, maybe part of it is that they just kind of um skip over the parts where the characters really get to react to it, like, or it's treated like very lightly.
yeah. The
um
characters just kind of roll with it and go, "Oh well, another day on
yeah,
the island."
yeah, exactly. Like, you would think it would be crazier, I mean,
Hmm.
even with what they've seen.
Because it was crazy for the Losties who did time travel going through the flashes.
Yeah.
Like, we felt it with them how weird it was to be understanding your time traveling, and then you're Sawyer sees Claire giving birth, and like all those moments, like we sort of were ramped up to the crazy time travel stuff through them. But for Jack, Kate, and Hurley, they just get thrust into the end of that.
Right.
And yeah, it seems like there's no time spent for them because the audience is already, they're catching up with the audience. So it's like the show doesn't need to give them that time because that's sort of wasting the audience time because the audience has already been through that in a way. But
Right, right,
on a
right.
character level, it is weird that they don't get a little bit more like, hold on a second, let me just take a night to think about like what just happened here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the Dharma initiative that we had been talking about this whole time on the show, you guys were in that technically the whole time,
Right. There
historically
was like a picture of
speaking.
you hanging up there.
Yeah, like
Like,
you were the guys who were
really
like when I
strange.
talk about the Dharma initiative, I'm talking about you guys,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And now us, because you just drafted us into it.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of crackpot theory. Like, did you imagine season like 2 or something or whatever, and being like, you know what? I bet some of these losties were in that Dharma initiative they just found out about.
Yeah, 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 I know. No, I know that. See, that's where I feel like season 5 like seems a lot cooler than it is,
Mm-hmm.
because that is an interesting idea, you
Yeah.
know? And I feel like, there's just a lot of problems with the way it's actually presented, and also like how little it matters,
Mm-hmm.
and how the characters react to it. And I think like another problem, like a larger problem, is that I think Dharma's kind of like the others. I mean, they have more of an identity, but they're like the others in the sense that like they're they seemed a lot more interesting than they really
Mm-hmm.
are.
Mm-hmm. It's another group of people. They are. What did you say? They have more. Forgot what you just said.
They have more like of a group identity, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. And they have a mission that they're on, but it's also still predicated on weak leaders, because basically LaFleur comes out of nowhere and now he's in charge, and it's so, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
there's no real like leadership to this group. There's a bunch of people doing things, but it's not like cuz that's the weird thing, like the others have a strong leader in terms of Jacob being an identifiable person who's at the head of this organization. Now,
Right.
the group itself identity is weak because they never talk to him and he never
Right.
tells them anything.
Yeah.
So their mythology is very thin and very
Yeah.
like whatever. But at least they have an identifiable figurehead where I feel like Dharma,
That's
who's really
true.
in charge? And now we know like
Yeah.
um
The
Miles's dad is
Groots.
senior.
I don't
He's
even
he's
know.
clearly a senior on the island,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
who's really calling the shots?
Not
And yet the
clear.
DeGroots aren't even a real presence. So
No.
yeah,
I don't
that
even think they're mentioned.
yeah.
I remember at the time thinking like, oh, maybe we're gonna get DeGroot and Hanzo
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If they were ever gonna do it,
Right.
you would think this would be the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Even when like Miles comes back from Michigan or whatever, like I expect him to be like,
hmm
yeah, I just met with the DeGroots.
Yeah, yeah,
Even if they were like off the island, you can at least like mention, something. But
right.
yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
both of those
yeah.
groups are weak in different
Like
ways.
the implication is that the DeGroots were there and he
Mm-hmm.
was there with them, but it's just sort of like, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of when they show the Black Rock with Richard, and we see the boat crash, and then like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like someone runs in, it's like Captain Hanzo's dead.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all you're getting.
Before you can even pretend, before you even like cast the person to be the dead body, just
Yeah.
go ahead and say, yeah, he's not actually going to be on this show
It's
here.
not a thing. If you're expecting any Hanzo secrets, like
Yeah.
go elsewhere. Go to
Yeah.
the fan fiction, because
Mm-hmm.
we're giving you nothing.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like that's kind of what it's like with the DeGroots. I remember it's like, oh, we gotta call Michigan, and
Ah.
there's the implication of like, ooh, yeah, the like that
Mm-hmm.
famous like Dharma stuff that we heard about early on in that video. But it just doesn't matter at all.
Whitmore has the same flaw, like where he's ostensibly got this very strong goal he's after, but it's actually really weak and really unfocused. There's times when he's really focused on the island, but that really is just about
Yeah,
hiring a team to do the work for him. And he's not actually
yeah,
plugged into the ins and outs of what the team's actually doing and how they're doing
yeah.
it. you know,
It
so it's like
also
I
kind of
don't.
seems personal, like
Mm-hmm.
it's just about this, you know, conflict with Ben,
Yeah.
you know, or at least like that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Since like that's literally the mission of the
Yeah.
freighter. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, they repeated that in this episode. Like, I know, like the idea would be he has to eliminate Ben first and then get the island, but still, like it shows where his priorities were.
Mm-hmm.
That you know that was like mission number one for this. Like the only thing he really did with the island directly,
Mm-hmm.
you know, until season 6 when he finally shows up himself to again kind of
When
do
he was
nothing.
forced to do something.
And
That's
yeah,
the big thing with him. It's like I feel like if I sat him down and said, what do you want? What do you want, Mr. Whitmore?" I feel like he wouldn't say. What would he
I want the
say?
island. The island
But
is mine.
why? Why
Benjamin
for?
took it away from
What do
me.
you want the
That's why I
island
want it
for?
because I'm a
So wait,
baby.
okay, you're a billionaire living in like England or wherever you are,
Yeah.
like London or whatever. Okay, so you want the island. You're gonna go move back in the
Yes.
island and trade
Yes.
your $1,000 loafers for some bare feet
The
and
island
dirty
is worth far
clothes.
more than any loafers.
Far more than your bank account? Is it technically?
Well,
You can't spend the island. And I hate to break it to you, you don't even know what the island is, and you don't even know what's special about it.
but but um
Pity! Penelope! Ah, yes, that's what I want. I desire my daughter. What does the island have to do with you getting your daughter back? Oh, shite.
oh.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, Widmore falls apart when you really
Yeah.
scrutinize his character. He
It
is
is a
crumble.
mess.
Yeah.
It is weird that they didn't define a
Mm-hmm.
goal for him. It's
Mm-hmm.
just this like very vague like
Mm-hmm.
I want I want island because island is mine. And it really does just come across like you took my toy, I want it
Mm-hmm.
back.
It reminds me of that kind of thing where people, you know, two friends like get in an argument and then they don't talk for like 30 years, and then you ask them what was the argument about and they can't remember.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me with Widmore, where like he really wanted the island because he was in charge of
Yeah.
it and he was invested in being the leader as he was the leader. But then when he got ousted, his focus changed, but he still just
Yeah.
had in the back of his mind, I've got to get that island.
I
I've
know
got to
I
get that
want the
island.
island.
So like 30 years later, you ask him like, so wait, why do you want the island? Oh, bollocks, I don't remember.
Maybe I should close down that wing of Whitmore Industries.
Exactly. I've only invested like $5,000 in it in 30 years. I guess I'm not that interested in it. Oh man, yeah, there's something about I'm noticing a pattern here with this show
Yeah.
where there's these people, the people who should have like the most specific goal and the most specific ideology really don't.
Yeah. 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 And the failure to commit to those things because like I get that um you know they want the focus to be on the main characters
Mm-hmm.
and you know those are the characters they really care about the most and so they spend the most time on them and blah 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 blah. But I do think that a show that you know if it's supposed to be you know this action adventure whatever you want to call it sci-fi type show where you know a lot of the conflict is not just interpersonal but it's
Mm-hmm.
built on you know these larger plot points you know Widmore sending a freighter and stuff like that like i think um I think shows like that are you know I mean oh there are a lot of them that do this but I think they work a lot better and if you want them to be like you know higher quality and not just like throw away whatever stuff then I
Mm-hmm.
think it's better when you can actually pay attention to also to the villains and like what they
Well,
want and why you
you
know
know, stories are only as good as their villains. You know, heroes are only interesting as the challenges that are presented to them. And I think that's why it matters to have a villain have a specific goal, is because
Yeah.
that's where the conflict is going to come from, is the villain either wanting the same thing the hero wants but for different reasons, or wanting something different that the hero has to stop. And that's
Right.
the thing. Like, that's why it matters what that specific thing is, because if you're not specific in the goal, you can't be specific in what the obstacles are and the like conflict that comes from the villain trying to reach the goal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so yeah, it just, you know, if Widmore wanted the island because he wanted to destroy it because he thought it was a danger, or he thought no one should be able to wield that power, you know what I mean? But it
Mm-hmm.
means everyone on the island's gonna die if Widmore ever
Yeah.
gets to the island. He's gonna kill everybody,
Yeah.
which was kind of the Kimi storyline, right?
Sort of true.
That was part
Yeah.
of it, but it wasn't because of Widmore's goal.
No.
In terms of him wanting the island, that was a side effect of him hiring maniacs to get big,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Um, you know what I mean? So it wasn't really built into his prime goal, you know. And then if his prime goal was really just revenge against Ben and he didn't really want the island, then there should have been some realization on his part of that,
Yeah.
you know. Uh where he understands, oh, this hasn't been about the island at all. This has all been about me getting back at you,
Right.
you know.
Right. But
And that could have
when
been part
Ben
of his
visits
turn.
him, he's like, no, that island was mine, and
Yeah, but that could have
you
been part
stole
of
it
his
from
turn in
me.
season 6 when Jacob makes him come to the island. Like, that could have been, like, imagine a scene where Jacob just tells him that, like, you don't want the island, you just wanted revenge against Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And then he helps him get some character growth, and then he could like turn a corner and try to help, you know, um save the island or save whatever. Well, I don't
Right.
even know what they're doing at the end.
That's the idea of what happened, I think. That they
Yeah.
like sketched, but
Yep. But it was all off screen,
it was all off
and it wasn't,
screen.
and it was disjointed because it wasn't connecting to
And
anything
he's
we
not
knew about
reliable
Widmore
either, so you
before.
don't even know if you can believe it.
Exactly. It wasn't connected to anything he had wanted before, you know,
Right.
and we didn't get to see him turn from he wants A to he wants Z,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or Zed.
Yeah, I feel like Widmore is a bad character who can't be changed. A bad character that you should like.
Yeah.
I feel like you should abandon Widmore unless you're willing to commit to spending time.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, like actually exploring the character. Like I think he should have. Yeah, it would have been better. I mean, I think like the Man in Black also has some problems as far as goals and stuff. I mean, at the very least, like they gave him a
Mhm.
simple like, I want to get
Yep.
off the island.
Yep.
So, that's a really concrete thing. I mean, there are problems with that. No question.
And then what was the problem with his goal?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also like, yeah, like why exactly? Well, I guess that's the and then what? Um,
It's like you get off of the, what do you get, like you that, and that was the thing that really made his goal kind of suck later, right? Because uh it's a great goal to have if you think his home was off the island. When you find out he was born on the island and he's never been
yeah,
off, then it's kind of like, well, like I don't. It's a little less specific, I think, like, or
yeah,
strong of a goal because you're trying to get
yeah.
to a place you've never been.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't seem like enough to
Like,
me.
imagine the Wizard of Oz where Dorothy had never been to Kansas, and she's like, "Gotta get back to Kansas." It's like,
Right,
wait, you
right.
haven't been there yet. What do you mean back to? You're from Oz, Dorothy. Like,
Yeah,
how invested am I in you leaving Oz if this is where you're
yeah.
from? And
There's
you don't
no
even
place like
know.
home. And by
You don't
home, I
even.
mean a place I've never been.
And that's why they didn't write it that way, because that's dumb.
Yeah, and like the Man in Black's like, when I mean home, I mean like I don't know, like the place where my mommy was born. Like it's weird.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Like ancient Rome. Like I don't even know what he has in mind. Like
Right? where do you think you're gonna go, man?
Like he's gonna visit like the Coliseum or something and be like, this is my home.
Oh man.
I don't understand. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't think they thought through that enough either. Even though like the Man in Black gets more attention than Widmore did.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I think they did a better job. But it still is the same flaw in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like Ben probably gets the best treatment as far as the villain characters. Like he gets
Yeah.
the most screen time. But of course, he goes for a redemption arc, so he can't be the villain at the end.
Well, and that's
So
what's tough for Ben is because he was so villainous that it feels crappy to try to empathize with him by the end
yeah,
and to go, well, maybe he wasn't so bad. Actually, no, he was the worst.
really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it
I
was
just think there's no
ridiculous.
redemption for Ben after he kills Locke the way he did. And the only thing
Yeah,
that could have made that work is if he killed Locke to save the Losties. If he thought, listen, I am trying to make a sacrifice here. There's something bigger than me happening. The world's gonna end or Losties are gonna die if I don't carry this plan out. And Locke can't be a part of this for some reason that I will explain later. You know what I mean?
right.
That would have been the only asterisk on him killing Locke that could have been like, okay, maybe you can be redeemed because you had something that was non-selfish involved in why you killed this guy so brutally. But there was
Right.
nothing like that at all.
No. No. He does try to lie about it and say like, "Well, I killed you because, you had to die and it was the only way to get back and I knew you would come back anyway." I think that story is the closest they get to something that could have
Mm-hmm.
made it forgivable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but of course it's all lies.
So
So,
lots because he had no idea Man in Black's plan. He had no idea that Locke could come back like
nope,
that. Like, yeah.
nope, didn't have a clue about anything. I also like it's a way smaller point, but I also kind of wish that they had um uh done a little bit more of talking about some of the older stuff that happened with him, like how much awareness does he have about dead people appearing, and the fact that he saw his mother, by the
Mm-hmm.
fence. And I feel like that sequence of events that leads to him meeting Richard. And he even tells Richard, that he saw his dead mother. Like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's something there about either the ghost or the Man in Black or something that they never really speak out loud. And it seems relevant when the Man in Black shows up and says, or Locke shows up and says, I died and now I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would think like there would be a connection there, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I almost,
Begs the question if Ben ever saw his dad.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And the cabin thing,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ad nauseum the cabin.
Yeah.
But I feel like that that's a part of Ben's storyline that I think doesn't hold up. I mean, I think like the stuff with his dad and like the childhood, like that's all fine. I think I can't really complain about that. But um, when it comes to like his time with the others, I guess it gets wrapped up in the fact that like the others are a fucking mess, and
Mm-hmm.
so like they never see Jacob, and Richard maybe sees him sometimes, but then Ben just goes off to this cabin and talks to who knows who. And yet at the same time he knows he never talked to Jacob. Like I don't like it's like what the fuck happened?
I'm
You
shaking my
know?
head. Yeah, and again, they could have done something where where does Ben get that idea from that you can just make up a leader, or something, or lie in a certain way? And I wish they would have set that in motion as a kid here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he saw somebody, get out of a jam by lying, or yeah, oh no, Horace told me to go do this thing. Wait, you didn't go talk to Horace. I saw you. You didn't. You just told him Horace said that, and he
Right.
believed you, huh? I'll keep that in my mind. If I tell you the leader said something, then you'll do it. You won't go ask the leader,
Right.
especially a leader who doesn't talk to everybody. You know what I mean? I wish there
Right.
would have been a little something like that to kind of help with that whole cabin stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And Richard didn't question it because he only met with Jacob every 10 years or something.
and
And
there's a whole thing too about like if Widmore's in charge, and I mean this just again just goes to why the others mythology really sucks. It's just like it you know if Widmore's in charge and Jacob seems okay with that, like who are you to depose him? Maybe
right.
that's why you got spinal cancer.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
maybe you did the wrong thing. Like why? And that's the thing with Jacob being so hands off, then Ben could just do whatever he wanted to do. And if there were no repercussions, he could just assume that that was okay.
Yeah.
And I would feel like it seems to me like um uh impersonating Jacob should be blasphemy if he really believed in Jacob. Now, a great thing they could have done, man. I mean, how cool would it have been if Ben was like, I thought Jacob was made up until I went to the cabin.
Mhm.
I There was no proof he existed. I just thought it was like Santa Claus. That's why I
Right.
spent all my time usurping his power and becoming leader of the others, is
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't think there'd be any consequences because I didn't think Jacob was real. I saw as a charlatan myself, I saw through the ruse. You guys are following a
Right.
fiction, that you've never met. And I'm gonna take advantage of that. You know what I mean? That would have been so cool. And then something weird happens in the cabin, and now he's like, oh shit, not only is Jacob real, but he wants Locke to be in charge. Now I really
Right.
have to like figure this thing out. Like that would have been so cool, I think, if we had found out that Ben didn't actually believe in Jacob.
Yeah.
Because he acts like he didn't, because Jacob
Right.
wasn't around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
you'd have to, now obviously, Richard says he's seen Jacob and all that stuff, and he could
Mhm.
have some explanation about that. Like, I didn't really believe you, Richard, and yeah, I know you haven't aged since I was a kid or whatever, but
Mhm.
like the island's weird, whatever. I'm still don't believe Jacob's
Right.
real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just because the isle is weird doesn't mean there's this guy
Exactly.
ruling the island or whatever he's supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, no, I that could have been interesting. I feel like they almost did that. But yeah, they didn't go so far as to say that Ben didn't believe it. Um
And that actually would have been an interesting counterpoint to him wanting to be judged. If now being judged by the smoke monsters would have been weird, but if he had felt like, okay, I didn't think Jacob was real. Now I know Jacob is
right.
real. My daughter died because of my lack of faith or something. Now I need to come back and have Jacob judge me. Like that would have been an
Mhm.
interesting kind of thing. And then when I actually get to meet Jacob, he says, "What about you?"
Right.
Now I want to stab him.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because I came here, you made me believe in you, and my daughter dies, and now you say I don't even know who you are. Yeah, I'm mad about that
Right.
because I didn't even believe you to begin with. And it's like it could have worked the way they did it with some changes, but I think this way could have been interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me wonder if did Whitmore ever meet Jacob when he was
Did
a
Widmore
leader?
meet Jacob? Come on.
I mean, I'm just thinking about how like, Ben's killing of Jacob, and I know like they add in the Alex thing later. I mean, I feel like that's a weak reason to kill Jacob anyway. The main thing he's talking about in that scene is the fact that Jacob never came to see him.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, was there a precedent that Jacob would meet with the leader, or did he always just meet with Richard? Because I don't get any clear indication from the story that he did meet with Rick
No,
Whitmore.
that's the only function for Richard to exist is he's the
Yeah,
liaison.
exactly. So it's sort
Yeah,
of like,
so
why
he
was he
didn't. Why
so
would he?
pissed about it?
Hey, well, there you go.
I mean, that's how he does things,
Yeah,
Like that's how he's
yeah,
always
he
done
never meets
things.
with the leader. Yep.
So
But see, that's the problem is he still thought he cared about him, right? I think he still thought he had some vested interest in his life and what he was doing, even though he
right,
wasn't going to meet with him. So that's the "what about you" sort of
right.
thing. But
It was there also a disapproval like that is I guess that from this is getting to like the problems with Jacob,
yep.
of which there are many. Like I kind of wanted to know what did he think about the others and their
Hmm.
various leaders and their various activities. Did he approve, disapprove, indifferent? He did meet with Richard at least some,
Oh man,
presumably.
that'd
I
been
don't know
so
how
great when
often.
Jacob's transferring power to Jack. He could be like, okay, and whatever you do, don't let the like others thing happen again. That was a catastrophe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would
Like
have been
whatever you
great.
do, don't like organize a religion around me or have one organized around you, Jack.
Yeah.
Like it's a bunch of headache you don't want. Like
Yeah. Yeah. It's better to just show up and say, don't do that, than to like stand back and let that happen.
man, that's a heady proposition, right? Like God comes down to tell Christians don't follow him.
Don't follow me.
Proving he exists, but also proving like whatever you do, don't follow me. It's like, oh
Don't
my
worship.
God, what do we do now?
Yeah, that would be weird. That would be very weird.
Because then, oh man, that'd be the funniest God ever, right? I mean, because then what do you do? It's blasphemy if you follow God.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
he said don't do it, but he's God, but don't do it. But
But no,
he's
but we
created
got
the
to follow his
universe.
commands. No, you don't.
No,
He said don't worship him. God damn it.
yeah,
What am I supposed to do?
but worshiping him means following his commands. But he said don't follow his commands. Oh no.
But that means, oh no. Yeah.
It's the Oros Boros of
It is.
religion or something.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we could talk forever about how the show sucks, but
we could.
which
And
characters are the worst?
I,
And we
I
have.
know, right? It's such a list.
It's such a list.
Such a
It's such
great
a list.
list. No,
Yeah.
I think Widmore of the ones we talked about, like Widmore probably is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
The least defined,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and the things that are wrong with the other characters, like are they still they got more attention,
Mm-hmm.
um and they had like particular points of view, even if they were stupid,
Which
at
seems
least
like
they
they
were
could
points
have.
of view.
They seems like that means they could have gotten Widmore more right because he had less to do and less screen time and less.
Right,
Well, he's in every other scene, so you know what I mean. Like
right,
Ben, there's a lot to write for him, so
yeah,
you're gonna get it kind of messy, but. Yeah, Widmore's in like 7 scenes or something.
right.
So like it seems like you could have made those work
It's like the
and be
seven
like
circles
really
of hell or something.
been like really specific about what's happening there, what he's doing. I can't wait till we get Carlton and David on the podcast. It'll be fun to be like, oh man, we've been podcasting about your show forever, and it's the best show ever, but also it sucks in these ways. Why didn't you guys do this?
Yeah. I guess I wonder how much of it, they would be willing to say
Mm-hmm.
privately.
Mm-hmm.
Because I, for PR reasons, I can understand why maybe they wouldn't want to say on an interview or a public thing like that,
All the
like
mistakes they made.
like yeah, I'm sure like they would probably be willing to say like yeah, the Bush line, like mistakes were made. I'm sure they wouldn't like say that the show was flawless,
Yeah.
but and like there's the low hanging fruit, like the fucking tattoo episode. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we all know that was bad.
They all know that.
Like, it's not, that's not going out on a limb, and that's not really risking anything to say that
Mm-hmm.
that was bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, could they admit that like some of the plotting, especially in the post negotiation,
Mm-hmm.
era,
Mm-hmm.
actually was really both ill-conceived and underdeveloped. Like, I don't know,
Double whammy.
could they see that? I wonder.
Mm-hmm. And they'll
Are
just
they
be
too
like,
close to it,
whatever
or I don't
happened,
know.
happened.
Like, I guess, yeah, if we put like some of those scenarios to them, like, would they?
Yeah, I do wonder if they go, well, no, 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 no. This is Widmore, and this is why he's like this, and this is why his
Yeah,
goal was never defined, and this is why he shows up in season 6 seemingly like there could be great and I do, yeah, I feel like that's the difference, right? Is what are the criticisms that have legitimate explanations, and then like what are the things that they just failed on, and then
yeah,
of the things they failed on, what are the things that they know that they're aware that were failures, and what are the things that if you told them and they
yeah.
go, "Wow, I never thought about it like that. That Whitmore
Mm-hmm.
is a horrible character." Like,
Right.
"Oh, you're right." Like
They just didn't
maybe,
think it through.
they didn't think they because they didn't write the character in a lump sum like that. They wrote it over many
Right.
years, so they're not
Right. To serve
getting
certain
that
functions at certain
distilled.
moments.
Yeah, yeah, they're not getting that distilled plot feel of, well, this is everything Whitmore does right now, and we can judge it for what it
Right.
is in the
Right.
aftermath.
That I feel like that's definitely part of it. Just the way
Yeah.
TV shows are written.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you're talking about a non-main cast member like that, like it can
Yeah.
definitely add up to yeah, a pretty sketchy character. I mean, I think Russo falls into that category to some extent as well. Um, a lot of the side characters,
Mm-hmm.
because they're there to like do a certain thing at a certain time, um, and so they're sort of instrumental in a way. If the show's not about them, um,
By instrumental, you mean as an instrument?
yeah,
Not like very vital.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, just that the instrumental as an instrument is not very used saying. I don't hear that a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I thought I'd point it out. um all right.
Yeah, getting
Well,
from point A to point B, but like the show doesn't actually care about them or what they want or
yeah,
why.
they're instrumental, not instrumental.
Yeah,
Gotta love English. I really do.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, in the bad way. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
in the
course
back.
it can mean multiple things.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks and namaste, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's just say it. That was a weird episode. A lot of crazy stuff
It
happening.
wasn't bad,
It wasn't
really.
bad. It just was just all over the place
Yeah.
and very. It just felt haphazard. And part of it just it was just weird seeing like uh LaFleur like flop around and I gotta go
Yeah.
here and I gotta get there and I gotta do this and
I find the Said stuff really tedious.
oh,
I
it's so bad already. I'm
I
already a
don't want to
part of
deal with it.
it.
And there's like a whole
Yeah.
episode
It
about
hasn't even
it.
started yet. I
I
mean, like it's
know.
still ramping up and
As soon as it happened, it's just like, oh God,
yeah,
this thing. And
yeah.
like, I don't know how much of that is what was in this episode, which wasn't that bad, really. It's more just like where it's going, and
You
even
know,
the side character as a whole.
they
You
didn't I
know,
don't think they could have necessarily done it this way, but I was just thinking that's another thing that would have been interesting to have that connection between Ben and Saeed is if because they both end up using the fountain in the temple
oh
to
yeah, yeah.
heal. And it would have been interesting if and I know there's a lot of moving parts to what was going on there, but it would have been interesting if like Saeed went in the water first and then he tainted it because of all of the torture from his past and all the darkness that Ben put him through with the killing in season 4.
Hmm.
And then that taint went into young Ben. And
Ah,
so Ben is the
yes.
reason that Saeed is evil, and Saeed's the reason that Ben is evil. And it's
Right,
this like
right. It's the
closed loop, like
Ouroboros
the
of
yeah. That would
evil.
have been really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the compass, like it just doesn't have a beginning. It's just,
Right,
you know,
right.
one thing feeding into the other.
Evil circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. That's interesting. I mean, that whole temple thing, like it's very interesting in theory, but like, you know, they never I guess
Mhm.
honestly like that is that is a big part of the appeal of Lost for me. I mean, the early seasons had great moments just as like normal TV, but I
Mm-hmm.
think like a lot of what interests me about the show is like things that were suggested by the show more so than things that were actually in the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like there are a lot of interesting ideas.
Yeah.
It's just like what they do with them
Mm-hmm.
isn't always that great.
And that's the thing, is we're in the part of the show where they need to be paying off those interesting ideas and not
Yeah,
just loading up more interesting
more
ideas.
shit. Yeah, and that's more the direction they're going.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't. Yeah, they never figured out how to pay off stuff. You know, part of that's the way they wrote the show, but
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there for certain things there should have been a clear conclusion.
And I wanna make discern something there where they're saying is not it's not you want to split those between, because there's not, payoff in general. So not answering mysteries, right? It's okay if you don't answer a mystery.
Yeah, yeah,
Life
yeah,
has mysteries that aren't answered. We get it, right?
yeah, yeah. Of
But
course.
there's a thing of something you set up. There's an idea or a plot element or a character moment that you have literally set up, and then that's the payoff that we don't get a lot of the times. Is what was that for? Like, even it just made me think of Dogen and the machine that can tell if you're evil.
Yeah,
That's a great setup for something that they never
yeah.
pay off.
I can't believe they just threw that out there
How do you have
in
an
season
evil detector
6.
machine and then you never use it again?
Like it was no, they used it once,
Yeah.
and then and suggested that they used it again off screen on Claire,
Mm-hmm.
but like you had that the whole time. You had an
And
evil
it
detecting
You have
machine.
an detector machine, and it's not part of how, when it gives you a list. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like they used it back then.
Nope, nope.
Like, how about for the candidates? Does it help you determine who a candidate
Hmm.
is? Maybe, I don't know. They
Yeah.
never used it for that because
Did you ever use it on any of the others? Did you ever use
yeah,
it on Ben?
I
Did
know.
you?
Maybe he would be evil on that machine.
I know. If he's not, like, what? There's something wrong with
Then the
this
machine
machine.
doesn't work, and we shouldn't use it ever, right? Yeah,
Clearly, it's faulty.
that's the kind of
Where
setup
did you
that
get this machine from? Like, did Jacob build it? What the fuck happened?
he's like Dharma Radio Shack. I
I don't
mean, there's just the
understand.
place. Yeah.
It's so weird,
Mhm.
especially because it's technology. It's not like,
Yep.
I'm gonna like mix this potion and then
Yep.
like you're gonna like put your hand in it, and then if it turns
Right?
blue, then that means you're evil. Like
Yep.
it's scientific,
Mhm.
which is just that's not even the others. They're not like
That I was just
inventing
gonna say
shit.
that should have been a Dharma machine. Like,
Yeah.
Dharma invented a machine that can do that, but the others should have had some sort of more mystical thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's weird. And yeah, if they tried to say that it was Dharma's, I guess that would have made more sense. But there's no precedent for that. There's no
Mhm.
sense in the show that that's true.
Mhm.
It seems like that's just the thing that, the others have at the temple.
That
We'll
they
just
rarely use. They didn't use it on Locke. Locke's gonna be
yeah,
your leader.
fucking A. That could have helped.
Hmm?
I mean, let alone just try to walk him into the temple across the ash line.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Uh anyone got a broom?
Yeah, I'm a little ash phobic. I don't really like the ash so much.
What do you think's gonna happen? You think if I could walk across that ash line, I'd still be here?
Give me a broom.
Did I touch a nerve?
Oh man, we have so many horrible scenes to watch with Man in Black pretending to be Locke. It's gonna be the best.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I guess that's the other Dougie thing.
Yeah, it's all Dougie from here on out, I think. All right, well, we'll be back with He's Are You,
All right. Can't
whatever
wait.
that's about.
Yeah, great title.
Until next time, thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.